you served as head of detective services from 2008 till 2011.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you retired in April 2011 you joined the South African Revenue Services.
Yes.
Okay. We have no questions for you in relation to tax matters this morning. Now, in your evidence in chief, you indicated that the police officers who tortured you in detention, that they applied for amnesty, and that you also applied for amnesty for your activities in the ANC, and that you actually you received amnesty as well. Yeah.
Yes.
You're not audible.
Okay. Sorry?
No, I was saying you're not audible.
Yeah. Okay, I must speak louder. Yes.
Thank you.
And if you're able maybe to move your chair up a little so that you're a bit closer to the mic.
There are some obstacles.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Lang.
Okay, thanks.
Can I ask for your view of the TRC process? And you'll know better than most that it was premised on that famous formula, amnesty for truth. So, for example, in your case and the case of the police who tortured you, they disclosed the truth and were granted amnesty. In your view, in respect of those who were either denied amnesty or who didn't apply for amnesty, what should have happened to them? Should the law have taken the course in relation to those individuals?
Being a law enforcement officer, my view was simple. I have to apply the law. And whatever areas of prosecution, whatever issues of tracing of people, that's the law and I have to apply it. And that was my view.
And you're aware of the mandate of this commission, which is to really look at why so few cases have been taken forward since the winding up of the TRC, and to investigate whether there was any attempt to stop or undermine the investigation and prosecution of TRC cases.
I have no knowledge of any deliberate view.
Sorry, Mr. Lott, the question is whether you're aware of the mandate of this commission.
Yeah. I'm aware of the mandate of this commission. Thanks.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry about that.
So I'd like to rewind now to the time when you were head of crime intelligence. So if we could go back now to the years 2003 and 2004. Can you give an indication how it was that you got approached to attend the first meeting of the Amnesty task team, which took place on the 23rd of February 2004?
Yes, it's quite a long period of time, but I have been thinking about it, and I was telephonically called by the staff office of Commissioner Williams, and he said to me, there's a meeting at the DOJ. He would like me to attend. So I asked him, must I take anybody along? What is the issue about? He said it's a TRC issue. So I said to him, maybe I should recuse myself because I applied for TRC, and I applied for Amnesty, and there were those that applied for Amnesty against me. He said he didn't know the exact details of the meeting, but he thought I should just go and listen and see how best we can help. I think his intention was to try and deal with the issues of the outstanding cases. So I had the same traction with him, and therefore I agreed to go to the meeting, which was held at the DOJ, and it was chaired by Advocate Rutman.
And at that meeting, what transpired?
Okay. I have a very little recollection of some of the issues at hand, but I think Advocate Rutman captured the minutes, or he may have taken minutes and points. And I'm not sure whether there were only 2 meetings to my recollection. I'm not sure whether I attended the first meeting or the second meeting. And it was the first time, with the exception of Advocate Rutman, I met all the other heads of or all the other representatives of the meeting. And I got the feeling that I was a bit misplaced in the meeting, because the issues was about, there was some discussion about the DOJ and the NPA and the authority, and I may have made suggestions, but I think it may have been totally not relevant to the subject at hand. So the meeting, I think, lasted maybe 35, 40 minutes, I'm not sure. And we all left, and that was the only meeting I attended.
I understand from your evidence in chief, as well as your statement, that I suppose you felt a bit of a fish out of water because you were not a lawyer, and the meeting focused a lot on the framing of a new legal dispensation for these cases, which, am I right in saying you didn't feel that that was your expertise?
I don't think they were discussing or I don't think they were determining a framework. They were trying to explore what was expected of them. And in the process over there, I realized that there was a lot of reference to the Constitution, to the law, and what have you. But I didn't get the feeling that at that meeting that I attended, that there were any definite proposals, but they were trying to just explore what was required of the situation at hand. Maybe with hindsight I can have a different opinion, but at that time, that's what I felt.
Okay. And then after that meeting, you then had a consultation with, I believe, Deputy Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
As well as...
Yeah, I went back to Deputy Commissioner Williams, and I think he called Commissioner De Beer and he called Legal Services. Initially, I thought it was what's his name, Commissioner Jacobs, but it could have been anyone from Commissioner Mtumkulu to Commissioner Engelbrecht, because it depended on who was available at that time. So that was, but I thought it was Dr. Jacobs. But when I sat back and reflected on the time period and what have you, I realized that it could have been any one of those, because they just called them impromptu at the meeting, whoever is available. So yeah, it could have been Dr. Jacobs, but I don't think so. After thinking quite some considerable amount of time, and even in my appearance of here, I tried to correct that impression, is that it was, I couldn't recall who was the legal person that they had brought to the meeting.
That's not an important fact for us. But the outcome of your meeting with Deputy Commissioner Williams, and then subsequently with Commissioner De Beer and someone from Legal Services,
Yes.
was the outcome that you should not go back to the next Amnesty
No.
Task Team meeting?
There was no spelling of the outcome, but basically listening to what I was saying, and that my suggestion that they should appoint somebody from legal services, and I won't be attending.
Right. Well, just to wrap up that section, ultimately what happened is that the Amnesty Task Team, which included legal experts such as Dion Rudman, they made proposals which went to the Directors General Forum, and ultimately the prosecution policy was amended to come up with a special legal dispensation for the TRC cases. So, for example, they came up with new criteria upon which a decision not to prosecute could be taken, such as whether the perpetrator had been subject to indoctrination and the like. Were you aware of that outcome?
I wasn't aware of the outcome, but I was aware there was a lot of confusion about how to take the cases forward, but nobody gave me any detail of the outcome. I had no discussions with anybody of the outcome. I had been meeting with the at interim periods with even Advocate McAdam too, and I had no indication that those were the outcomes. So I'm not sure what was the outcomes there. I haven't seen any document. I don't think I was given any. I saw some of the pieces of the documents in the file, but it was the first time I saw it when it was produced by the Commission.
And given your earlier statement that those who didn't apply for amnesty or who were refused amnesty, that their cases should be treated in the normal course. What's your view on the creation of a more lenient dispensation for perpetrators behind the TRC cases?
I think in the long run, as to where we are today, I'm talking now from where we are today, I think that the families have a right to know what has happened in each individual case, but I also think there's a feeling of wanting to make South Africa better. And sometimes, I find myself personally in the situation that I get traumatized. I do think about these things, and I think about others and who they have lost and how they have lost, and I get angry about my own personal experiences. But the greater perspective that I have, talking about from the present time, as a grandfather, I think we need to build a better nation.
Thank you. All right. I want to talk a bit about the perceived approach of the leadership of SAPS at that time. And I want to refer you to a memo that we've put in the cross-examination bundle. It's at page 8.
Page 8.
Okay. So as you can see, this is an NPA document. It's a secret internal memorandum. It's from the then acting National Director of Public Prosecutions, who was Dr. Silas Ramaiti, to the then Minister of Justice. It's titled Management of TRC Cases by the NPA. It's dated 14 December 2004. Do you have it?
So which page are you on?
It should be page 8 of the cross-examination
Yeah,
bundle.
I'm okay, yeah.
Oh, you got
It's
it.
in the
Okay.
front page, yeah, thanks.
So the purpose of the memo is to respond to various allegations that have been made. It's at some meeting. The meeting isn't described, but certain cabinet ministers were present, as well as the National Commissioner of the Police Service. Then that would have been Commissioner Jackie Salebi at the time, and presumably the minister asked the acting NDPP to respond to those allegations. We're not going to go through the memo in great detail because it's quite long. But under historical background, the acting NDPP just sets out the approach of the NPA, and in particular he highlights that there were two detectives, a Director Nell and a Senior Superintendent Brits of the SAPS, who were investigating cases against the ANC. And that work began in the late 1990s and continued all the way through to the early 2000s. And then perhaps we can jump to page 11 under the heading Matters Arising, and under the subheading SAPS involvement pertaining to TRC investigations. So during 2003, the NPA sought assistance with a number of cases, and some of them are set out in 4.1.2. You'll recognize, I think, probably all these cases: PEPCO 3, Cradock 4, COSAS 4, Victoria Mchenga, and so on. And it was when they tried to have these cases investigated, that they ran into problems. So if you look at 4.1.3, Dr. Ramita says, on 26 September 2003, Commissioner De Beer advised the PCLU that, having discussed the request with the National Commissioner, no such assistance would be rendered without the express written instruction of the President. His motivation was that the suspects in the above cases were all ex-policemen. Perhaps we can just pause there. Was it your experience that SAPS typically wouldn't take on cases if the suspects were police officers?
This is the first time I'm seeing this document. This
Yes.
I was unaware of what the detectives were having as dockets and what have you. So to answer your question is that, did I know about it? I didn't know about it. I was totally unaware of it. When Advocate McAdam wrote to me with a list of cases, I sent a directive to the 9 provincial heads as well as the component heads, asking them of crime intelligence, not of detective services, of crime intelligence, are there any documentation, are there any evidence that is within the crime intelligence domain? I got a nil return. Nil return means that all documents were burnt and destroyed, and most documents that were taken at the tail end by the TRC. So I was unaware that there were any cases that was being dealt with by some elements in the detective service or some colleagues in the detective service, policemen in the detective services.
Thank you. when you say the documents were burnt or destroyed, do you have any knowledge of perhaps when that happened and why they were destroyed?
I also spoke to Commissioner Williams as well. He was my predecessor in crime intelligence. And he told me that during the period of time that he was there, when the initial setup of the police services was designed, that various ministers or presidents did request and did ask for those things. And the answer that they got, that they were destroyed pre-1994.
So this was now the tail end of the apartheid era?
This was the tail end, and the new democratic period was just coming in. And they were given the assurances. This is my understanding, that there were no documents that was available in the old security branch, which became crime intelligence.
Yes. In fact, I recall that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was well aware of this concerted effort to destroy as many documents as possible, and they actually launched a special investigation into what the Commission referred to as the industrial destruction of apartheid era documentation.
Yes.
So if we continue 4.1.4, and of course, and this is now the perception of the NPA, the perception unfortunately created by this decision is that SAPS was only interested in targeting members of the liberation movement. And 4.15, they say that this perception was reinforced by the way SAPS dealt with the Blani and the ANC 37 cases. And we'll just focus on the ANC 37 case. And I think you're aware that 37 leading members of the ANC applied for amnesty. It was originally granted, and then there was a High Court review, and it was subsequently overturned.
Yes.
But it included senior well-known figures such as Thabo Mbeki and Jackie Selebi himself.
Yes, I knew of the ANC, but I didn't know all the. I didn't. Maybe Jackie Selebi's name was there. I take it for granted as you're telling me. Okay.
Yeah. No, we do have the application, and I believe he's number 26 on that list.
Okay.
Yeah. So 4.2.2, members of the PCLU held various discussions with Nell and Brits, during which discussions Nell and Brits persisted that there was a strong case against the President and other prominent cabinet ministers. This was raised in the context of attempting to persuade the PCLU not to prosecute former security branch members on the basis that if such members were prosecuted, the President would have to be prosecuted as well. And it's that concern expressed in the last sentence of 4.2.2 that that we're submitting was a central concern of government and leading figures such as Jackie Selebi. When you were head of crime intelligence, did you get to hear of this concern that if the NPA pursued former apartheid-era officials, that it would then give rise to calls or pressure to go after senior ANC leadership as well?
I can't recall any discussion within SAPS as such, and even within crime intelligence. But what I can say is that at some stage of some period, I don't know whether 2005, 2004, 2003, that Advocate Nguka clarified the issue in a press, and it was a non-issue for all of us. He was the NDPP head, and he clarified it by saying that there is no truth in the story that the President is being pursued by the NPA. So that was my understanding. But I must say, in the environment you work with, you hear multiple stories. But I did not get the person who I interacted most, and unfortunately my office was away from the headquarters of SAPS, so I wasn't too much in the corridors there. The person who I interacted most was Commissioner Williams, and I didn't get the feeling from him that this was the big issue at hand. The most issues I think he was more worried about was the counterterrorism issues, but that's something else. I personally didn't get the feeling. But if you're asking me with hindsight, I heard all these rumors, but as we are working at that particular moment in time, I didn't get a sense, I personally didn't get a sense that that everyone was disrespecting Advocate Muga's public statement. I think in SAPS it was just generally taken into account that the ANC and his team is not going to be prosecuted.
Yes, and if you, we're not going to go through the rest of the paragraphs on page 5 of that memo, or paginated page 12. Maybe you can read it in your own time, but just by way of summary, because there was this view that the NPA was about to pursue the ANC leadership, it ultimately resulted in NDPP and Guka issuing a press statement in May, I believe, of 2004, in which he confirmed that there was no case against leadership and the NPA was not prosecuting them. But notwithstanding that press statement, in the years following, all the way through to 2007, that fear or belief persisted. Do you recall these rumors or allegations still prevalent post 2004?
I would think that in 2008, when I got appointed as head of detective services, I at that stage wanted to try and fast track investigators into the priority crime cases. So I think at that time I heard some rumors and allegations of it. But I had a posture that when we were working in government, every day there was a new allegation, there was a new rumor, and there was a new story. So if it was not told to me, or if it was not written to me as a director, I ignored it. It was the way, unfortunately, even the media operated that way. Any rumor, anything, it became a national issue subject. I tried to keep my head focused on what was the elements of accuracy in front of me. But I'm not disputing that those discussions may have not have taken place. I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying from my side, I'm unaware of it.
Right, since you've come to the year 2008, perhaps we can stay in that time period. Can you just give us an indication as to how you knew Advocate Chris McAdam? I understand you had a good working relationship going back to your KwaZulu-Natal days.
Yes, it was in regards to the political violence, in regards to some of the TRC cases, trying to find the missing people and what have you. We had an amicable, good relationship, and it continued when he came to Pretoria and when I was in Pretoria. And wherever possible, if I could help, I could help. But whilst Yeah, basically, I had a good relationship with him.
All right, so then let's turn to the approach by Advocate McAdam in 2009. You might recall that he made an approach to you asking for investigators, and these are summarized in paragraphs 306 to 314 of the Kalata affidavit. It was also reproduced in the Rule 313 notice, and I understand that's at pages 17 to 22 of your bundle.
I've got pages 17. Is it the one that's also marked 518?
It depends which
Okay, sorry.
which versions you're looking at. But if you have 17 onwards, then I think we're on
in
the right
red.
page.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yes, I have. I'm on page 17. Thank you very much.
Okay. Let's jump to page 18 at paragraph 308. So, in relation to the struggle for investigators, McAdam approached Ackerman for advice, and he disclosed that he had previously closed some matters which had not required investigation and handed over a list of some 10 cases. McAdam attached to his affidavit a trail of emails between himself and various role players in his attempts to get the remaining cases investigated. He initially met with Raymond Lala, then Divisional Head of Detective Services, who informed him that the National Commissioner had decided that the cases must be handled by the DPCI. That's correct. Is that your recollection?
Yeah, I think when I first appeared here, I tried to explain. He did approach me in 2009, and what he's writing here is his correspondence to Advocate Willie Hofmeyer. But Advocate McAdam did approach me, and he gave me a list of 2 names that he wanted, and they were not in part of SAPS, and they had to be employed in SAPS. So I, at the end of the day, tried to find a way to see whether we could employ these former people or what have you. In the process, I learned that SAPS was undergoing a work study to create a priority crimes investigation unit. And I immediately called Advocate McAdam and told him that they want to create an institutional capacity so that we can actually deal with these cases as part of their other cases that they have to deal with, because they are regarded as priority cases. That was, I think, in 2009. Yeah.
Yes, it was 2009. So you made reference to McAdam's interactions with Deputy NDPP Advocate Willie Hofmeyer. and perhaps I'll just read into the record a quote from that communication for your response. He says, I met this morning with Commissioner Lala concerning the appointment of SAPS investigators to investigate the TRC cases where victims have asked the NPA to look at prosecutions. We have been taking quite a beating due to the fact that nothing has been done on these matters for a number of years. And in fact, in certain cases, the victims are threatening us with mandamus applications. In this regard, Commissioner Lala asked me to provide him with the names of 3 to 4 investigators who had the necessary experience. Perhaps we can just pause there. So, McAdam says that the NPA has been taken a beating, and they're now being threatened with legal action. And given this is now 2009, some years after the winding up of the TRC, was it somewhat concerning to you that in 2009 the NPA was still pleading for investigators for these cases?
I was concerned, and I, at some stage in the period, thought the problem was resolved pre-2009. I thought because whenever I met Advocate McAdam, he was dealing with one case or the other, but not necessarily TRC cases. So I assumed that the management of the process was going on. But when he came to me in 2009, 2008 or 2009, I can't remember, that's when I realized that they don't have a systematic capacity to deal with TRC cases. And so the work study people helped, and the human resources people helped to develop some sort of capability. But I was worried, and unfortunately, sometimes state institutions run in a bureaucratic way. But by mid-2009, there was a new national commissioner appointed, and there was a new DPCI head appointed. So in my mind, these cases would get the immediate urgency that they required, and that's how I read it as.
Yes. To be clear, there was certain PCLU cases which SAPS was assisting with, and I think you alluded to them. So, for example, cases involving nuclear proliferation,
Yes.
Terrorism cases,
Yes.
and the like. So there appeared to be a good working relationship between the PCLU and SAPS on those cases, but it was just the TRC cases that appeared to be neglected, which was a great concern to them at that time.
Yep. I can't comment on what happened in the NDPP, NPA, and on the SAPS TRC cases, because I think, personally, I think they all should have put their resources and pooled the resources and set up a team and just dealt with it. But I did not know the legal challenges. I did not know the toing and froing, and sometimes even I got frustrated, and perhaps it leads you to a situation that the bureaucracy is so intense that it might create perceptions of interpretations, but actually the bureaucracy sometimes fails us. I don't know if I'm clear in what I'm saying. Is that it's not worth me blaming an individual in the NPA or blaming an individual in the NDPP or blaming an individual in SAPS. I'm not saying that there have been no delay tactics or malpractices or what have you, but I'm saying I find sometimes in the way in which governance, finance, institutional mechanisms that are put in place, it becomes quite an elaborate process. But I was very happy at the pace in which the DPCI was set up. But I agree with you. I had my own misgivings that when McAdam approached me, that he was saying basically starting from scratch.
Yes. But it certainly appears from paragraph 309 that...
Sorry, I must say Advocate McAdam, sorry.
Yes,
It's just because I know him
yeah.
on a personal level, so I get caught up with
that you were open to bring on board the individuals that McAdam had requested, that you were willing to give it a special tasking, and that you would pay the costs, the investigations of that budget. But of course, shortly thereafter, and perhaps unfortunately, the decision was then taken that it would not be detective services that would deal with the cases, but DPCI, and that's set out from page 310 onwards.
Yes.
And sadly, the cases didn't go forward, but that's out of your remit, so I'm not going to question you on that. Perhaps then we can turn to the meeting that took place between yourself, Advocate Ackerman, and Advocate McAdam and Pretorius on the 25th of August 2003. Can you remind us why that meeting took place?
From my recollection is that it was Advocate McAdam who requested a meeting, and he said he just wanted it to be an introductory meeting, and but he wanted to set up, or they wanted to tell me what and how they were going to approach the TRC cases. And I agreed.
Okay, I'm just going to refer you to Advocate Ackerman's version. And in the top bundle, if I can refer you to page 49. Yeah, it'll
Yes.
be the red number.
49, yes.
So before I read certain of these passages for your reaction, essentially what Advocate Ackerman said in his evidence before the Commission is that they were struggling to get investigators during 2003, and because McAdam had this good working relationship with you from your KZN days in the 1990s dealing with political violence, and dare I say, I think I met with you in the 1990s on that issue as well. And thank you for your assistance in that regard. The decision was made that they would approach you to talk about the problems in getting investigators for the TRC cases and try to resolve that impasse. From their perspective, is that roughly correct?
Roughly correct, yeah.
So let me then read to you what Advocate Ackerman had to say. And let's take a look at paragraph 13 of that memo, which is now on page 53. That's the red number, 53. So I'll read a few of these paragraphs into the record, and then you can react. Starting at 13, due to the difficulties encountered with the DSO, my two deputies and I met with Commissioner Lala to inform him of my unit's mandate and to request him to channel any intelligence relating to the cases to my unit. During the course of these discussions, I did express my dissatisfaction with the DSO and informed him of the allegations being made against the President. McAdam also asked his assistance concerning the Motherwell case, where the accused were alleging that the deceased had been killed before they were MK operatives. As I subsequently discovered, this conversation was clandestinely recorded, both on audio and video. Let's just park the recording for the moment. The contents of paragraph 13, is that your recollection as to what was discussed?
Yes.
And I understand that Advocate Ackerman didn't mince his words when he spoke about the DSO.
I can't recall the exact things, but I think I may have. I think he just had a bad day. I think that's how I would put it today, because I found it. I found it a little bit wanting in the sense that you get appointed, and 3 months after that, you have a view of your personnel that you're working with. So I just, and I had nothing personal against Advocate Ackerman. I still don't have anything personal against him. But I just found it, I found it, I mean, maybe the choice of words were a bit tough for me, and I responded in the way I responded.
Okay.
But I concede that perhaps in a much more mature environment, one would say that he just had a bad day. I don't know if I answer your questions, but
It's just very difficult to hear you.
oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. And did Advocate Ackerman raise other cases in which he was seeking intelligence on?
Yeah. They gave me a list, but the list was, to define it properly, it wasn't that they were asking me to help them with the investigators. They were asking me, did we have security branch files on those things? That's how I understood. Did we have any documentation on those cases? And I think in one of his emails he addresses it. There was one of them which was slightly different. I don't know if maybe I should go into it.
All right, you can.
Okay. The one that was slightly different was the one in relation to the late Mr. Krisani. So all of them were put on the list. The 5 or 6 of them were basically looking at old security branch documentation, which I couldn't help because the files were burnt. In relation to the Krisani matter, I forwarded that letter directly to the provincial head of crime intelligence, and he was Commissioner Cedric Rapuri. Commissioner Cedric Rapuri did inform me that he searched high and low for these things, and so I asked him to communicate with Advocate McAdam directly. But Commissioner Rapuri, I trusted his judgment for one simple reason, is that in the early 80s he was a member of the security branch, and in the mid 80s he was arrested by the security branch for working for the ANC, and he spent 12 years on Robben Island. So he had a vested interest in trying to find the truth behind the document, or behind this one-liner which Advocate McAdam gave us. And he couldn't trace it, he couldn't find anything. But I must say, in the same spirit, we receive daily, hundreds and hundreds of documents or allegations or counter-allegations on people sending us on wild goose chases. And I'm not saying, I hope they can find the person who actually had that intelligence report and dealt with it. But in my subsequent years, Advocate McAdam never came back to me with it. So I assume that in whatever way, in that period in 2004, what have you, when those lists were given to me as crime intelligence, I'm going to repeat myself again. I informed the 9 provincial commissioners to do a return on all the documentation that were there, and in regards to this additional one on the late Mr. Krisani, I asked him to forward it to the provincial head, who had the gusto and who had the belief that he will try and get to the bottom of it. And he was exhausted. It was sometimes when people write allegations, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll have evidence to actually tie with it. And we also didn't want to make it a public thing, and because it's just sheer allegations. However, there was nothing for Commissioner Rapuri to show to me that the person who is alleged to have been in the security branch, who knew of the killing of Chris Hani, or the plot, we couldn't establish anything. We couldn't find out any. But I concede that that matter, he listed it in the list of documents that were sent to us.
Thank you. Then the cases of the Motherwell bombing, Brian Ngulunga,
Yes.
Eugene de Kock, General Nick van Rensburg, that they were also raised with you?
Yeah, those are, if one reads the document correctly, he was basically looking for if there were any documents in the security branch offices that could indicate to them or that could help them, and we couldn't find it. It was burnt and destroyed. It's different from him asking me the question, is that can we set up a team to look at, but he has to do it in the proper protocol, because it's not normal in intelligence that because someone comes and casts an aspersion on a person, we must start investigating the person. So there must be a file with much more detail to explain what is going on, and then we take it to our legal person and we say, we can do 1, 2, 3.
Chairperson, I see it's 11, although we're quite close to the end of our cross-examination.
Yes.
I think we can wrap this up in about 6 or 7 minutes.
Yes, you may proceed.
As the chairperson pleases. Let's then continue. Now, I'm going to read now, and read paginated at page 53, some further paragraphs from this memorandum. And just to remind ourselves, this is from Advocate Ackerman to Advocate Pacoli on the 16th of May 2006. So paragraph 14. At a later stage, my 2 deputies and I were at short notice summoned to a meeting with Mr. Nguka. Mr. Nguka informed me that Commissioner Salebi had addressed a meeting of the Directors General and alleged that Mr. Nguka was preparing to have the President and 6 generals arrested and charged with terrorism. Mr. Nguka further informed me that Commissioner Salebi was in possession of a video recording in which I had admitted that the President was due to be arrested. I was then shown the video recording of my meeting with Commissioner Lala, and this is how I learned that the meeting had been recorded. Paragraph 15, Mr. Nguka further informed me that Commissioner Salebi had complained about the NPA being in possession of SAPS dockets. Well, let's perhaps pause there. So Mr. Ackerman is complaining that the meeting was recorded clandestinely without his knowledge or permission, and that recording was then handed over to Commissioner Salebi, who on that basis then accused him of working to have the President arrested. And he was then confronted with that video, had a meeting with NDPP and Nguka. What's your response to Advocate Ackerman's complaints?
I did what I had to do.
Come again, just raise your voice.
I did what I had to do. And I took the decisions of what I had to do. I've had, and I don't want to go into the lengthy history of how much of experience that we have had where in meetings people say A, and in actual reality when they converse they say B, C or D. So to protect the integrity of my institution, myself, and to utilize it for my own internal purposes, because I also had members who would portray a set of circumstances different from what the investigators want. Yes, I recorded it, and the process of recording doesn't take place that you can selectively record. I gave the instruction long before I went into the room. There's no switch in the room for me to record and to specifically isolate what negative things or what positive things. The whole conversation was recorded. I am not in a position to clarify what exactly was said, and I'm not going to attempt to clarify what exactly was said. If all those who listen to the recording have given their statements, and by his own admission, he has said certain things. In my situation, and I'm talking hypothetically, I'm the head of intelligence, and I'm talking purely hypothetically. This is how I'm thinking in hindsight. If you come and tell me, hypothetically, that if you want to arrest the head of state, you make me a conspirator. So as intelligence heads, we sometimes have to protect our institution and the government and the government of the day. I am not saying he said that he wanted to arrest the president. I don't know what's on the tape. But if the tape is there, and that's it. But I'm trying to put a scenario over here that why I tape these things is simply because I have to protect the integrity of the state and the version of what is being said. After all, this is part of the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. Not he said this or I said that. If he's hurt by it, there's nothing I can do about it. But I think it would be unfair for me to tell me, I'm going to have a meeting, but I'm going to record you.
Why is it not so? Mr. Lala, why don't you tell the person you are going to record that the meeting will be recorded for purposes of making sure that the record of the meeting is accurate?
For the simple reason is that during the times that we are working, my experience has put me in a situation to be able to defend myself when these things happen. I think the challenge that he should have he should have asked himself why he said those things, or whatever he said.
No, what I'm asking is why don't you disclose to the person you are going to record that I am going to record this meeting?
At intelligence offices, at the offices over there were signs that everything that goes on here is monitored. Everything that is basically monitored. So I regarded it, and it's my personal decision, wrong or right, it's my personal decision that I felt it was not proper to tell him.
Why not?
That's my reason.
So you are unable to explain why you do not tell
No,
him?
no. My reason is simple. Is that I've had, and that's why I didn't want to go into details, I've had hundreds of experiences of people who have come and given me pictures or scenarios of issues. And then they go out of the offices and they reflect another thing, another set of circumstances. So, and they experiently reflect the set of circumstances in a way to look after themselves and their own interest and whatever intentions that they have, because they're going to speak to somebody else about it. In this issue over here, I saw the need for it. I have no qualms with it. My reason is very simple, is that I wanted to protect the integrity of the state in terms of everybody who comes there. Because
if I may interpose, why would the integrity of the institution not be protected by disclosing to the person you were recording that you were going to record the meeting?
I think the situation was delicate, and it depended on my experiences at that given time as intelligence head. And I felt it was necessary. But
Mr.
I also think what is necessary as well is for him to say what he said. I mean, if this thing was not recorded, what would the truth then appear as? You have to be truthful. You're dealing in an environment that's conducive to a whole lot of manipulations. And my feeling is that because of the past experience of the TRC, the destruction of the documents, the hearing of oral evidence and what have you, I felt it was important for me to record it.
Mr. Fani?
Thank you, Chair. So, Mr. Lala, from the perspective of Advocate McAdam and his colleagues, there was a prior relationship between you and Advocate McAdam. So as I understand, the basis of the meeting was that this was a meeting amongst professionals and colleagues to talk frankly, to work out, ways of resolving problems and taking matters forward. So recording the meeting is one thing, but handing the tape over to somebody else is another thing. So let's then move to that. Why then was the tape handed over to Commissioner Selebi? Because as I understand your evidence in chief, you recorded the meeting, and as you just mentioned, because you wanted a record to make sure that down the road, if there's a dispute as to what was said, then you would be able to work out precisely what was said because you had the recording. So why then was there a need to hand that over to Commissioner Selebi?
Some time later, and as I explained, that when we have meetings, there are people who have one set of views of the meeting, they have one interpretation of the meeting, and when they leave the door, they express the contents of the meeting in a different way. And after the recording, I can't remember the length of time, but my initial response to Commissioner Selebi at that time was that the PCLU is having some teething problems, and I left it like that. Some months later, and my assumption that he was either at because of the topics in question that he spoke to me about. He was at a Department of International Relations and some issues of certain sanctions being put across us and what have you, of outstanding issues and reports that we haven't done. So he was speaking to somebody in the legal services over there, and I'm speculating this, maybe I shouldn't go there. But let me just go to the fact that what he asked me. He asked me about three things, about the biological warfare, about the anthrax, and then he said to me, by the way, he's got another interpretation of what took place in that meeting. What meeting? The meeting with you and the PCLU. I said, I only had one meeting with them. And he said to me, he has another interpretation. So I didn't want to go into a long, laborious discussion. I said, I recorded the meeting because he's my accounting officer. And these challenges we experience quite a lot, where senior officers are told, even from state departments, from other things, this is what is supposed to be done, this is how we're doing it. And in other forums, other things are being told. I never went into detail as to what he was, why he needed it. And he asked for it and I just gave it to him.
What was the interpretation that he said he had of that meeting?
He didn't express it to me. He said he had another interpretation of the meeting, basically implying that I was not very truthful.
Wouldn't the proper way to deal with it to have asked him what the interpretation was and then listened to the recording and then report it back to Commissioner Selebi?
That could have been one consideration or what have you. At that time, I took that decision.
And at that time, I assume you were aware that Commissioner Selebi was one of the ANC 37 and that he would have had a personal interest in this matter?
No, I was unaware. I want to be honest. I don't even know who were the 37. I just assumed that it was NEC members, but I want to be honest that I didn't know he was one of the 37. I didn't even bother myself with that.
If you had known, would have it made a difference?
It may have made a difference.
And in that case, you would have withheld the recording.
Not necessary, because this was a meeting. I don't think, if I recall the contents, and that's why I like the contents to be played to all. If I recall the contents, I don't think we specifically, let me not speculate. I think it's best that if the contents are made available to all.
But you accept that the PCLU had a mandate to investigate all sides in the conflict.
Yes.
And so it shouldn't have been that surprising that they were speaking about cases against former apartheid officials, but also cases against the liberation movements.
I must say, and I want to be frank over here, at that stage, I didn't have any interaction with them about the cases. At a particular stage, later on, I came to know that there was some issue dealing with the Frank Chikane case. But on the 37, my assumption was that there was no case. Advocate Bulunane said there was no case, and it was closed. So I can't keep these images and versions right. It's closed. It's done. So I don't see it as any travesty or whatever by handing the tape. He is the accounting officer. And that's what I did. I did my job.
Yes, although the case was effectively only closed about 9 months later.
I'm not sure of that.
Yeah. Yes, the statement issued by the NPA through Bulelani Nguka, the NDPP, came out in May of 2004. Sorry, March of 2004. No, I
And
think
when?
it was May 2004. And your meeting was August of 2003.
My meeting with
With Advocate Ackerman and the
Yeah.
other colleagues, yes.
I'm not 100% sure of the dates, but you could be right.
And given that timing, so in August of 2003, following that meeting, you would have been aware of what you say, the teething problems that the PCLU had, which included issues around investigations. So when you were at the Amnesty Task Team meeting in March of 2004, did you think about raising those challenges at that meeting?
No, I found myself, that I was misplaced to attend the meeting.
Okay. And then lastly, you made the comment in your evidence in chief that Advocate Anton Ackerman was broken in that meeting. Are you still persisting with that claim?
I think maybe I stretched the description, but I just felt it was, he had an off day.
Okay. No further questions, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Vani. I think we'll take a tea adjournment. And reconvene at 11:40. Mr. Soni?
Thank you, Chairperson. Ms. Rangata is going to ask questions on behalf of the evidence leaders, Chairperson.
Thank you. Ms. Rangata?
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to you and the commissioners. Good morning, Commissioner Lala. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much again for coming. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Commissioners, I'm going to be looking at the cross-examination bundle. I'm at page 15 of the bundle. It's a document called Secret Report, Amnesty Task Team. Are you there, Commissioner Lala?
Open 50. Let me see another 50.
It's the red number, 15.
Yeah, I think I'm finding it.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
You will see on the first page of the report under 1.2, sorry, it's, 1.2. It's the task team comprises the following members, and your name is the second last there.
Yes.
Are you there?
Yes.
All right. And we read in paragraph 1.3 that the task team was requested to submit its report to the Director General's Forum by close of business on the 1st of March 2004. The task team met for the first time on the 26th February 2004 and again on the 1st of March 2004. Commissioner Ray Lala could unfortunately not attend the first meeting. He did, however, submit his proposal to the task team for its consideration. I would imagine that meeting that you didn't attend is the 26th of February 2004. Is that correct?
I would think so.
All right, thank you so much. The report states that you had made your submissions. Would you recall, I would imagine that would have been in writing.
I would have done so in writing, but I cannot recall what I wrote. I believe that there was an indication that maybe I misunderstood the mandate of the task team. So I absolutely can't recall what were my recommendations. This was the DOJ team, and I had just given them my recommendations.
Are you saying?
Sorry, but reading this report,
Yeah.
You cannot identify whether what your input in writing, whether it is incorporated in this report that the leader of the evidence, Ms. Ranaka,
Firstly,
just read.
yeah.
Is it incorporated here in or not?
Thank you for bringing that to my attention. It's the first time I've seen this, not the first time, during the Commission's hearing was the first time I've seen the report. And so I want to be very honest over here. I don't know the origins of the report. I can't recall the contents of the decisions or the proposals of the report. And, but I do consider, I do agree that I may have written something which, but I can't recall any of the details of this report.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Homu. You have familiarized yourself with the report for the preparation of your hearing and as well as the cross-examination for today. Am I correct?
Sorry?
Have you familiarized yourself with this document in preparation for this hearing?
Yeah, I got this document today. Yeah, I have read through it today. Yeah, but I have seen this document in another submission.
Yes.
I think by I can't remember who, but I've seen the contents of the document. Yeah.
And you're saying that when you read it,
Yeah.
you couldn't recognize any of the submissions that have been made, and your name is on the report, and the report makes certain recommendations and discussions.
Yeah, I'm not sure where is this report from. That's
Did
what
you,
I'm trying
did
to
you
say.
take it up as to where does the document come from? If it doesn't represent your inputs and your submissions,
Yeah.
did you raise any concerns that I'm not recognizing? I see my name is here.
Okay,
I see I've made a report, but I cannot recognize what is contained in this document.
Okay, I'm clarifying it now, right? In the earlier part, at somebody who submitted this, I have not seen this secret report. Normally, I would, in my own understanding, I never experienced DOJ in writing secret reports. I did see it in the, I think in January, February, and I dismissed it, but I'm basically saying that I am not familiar with the contents of the report.
I accept that. It just makes it difficult for me to move from that, and I'm just going to put it just for the record. Accepting that you might not be familiar and you might not have details of what your submissions would have been, am I correct that you accept that you have attended at least one meeting of the ATT?
I agree. I attended one meeting of the ATT.
All right.
And yeah,
Thank you.
And that would have been on the 23rd of April 2004?
I'm not sure of the dates, but I agree. I attended one, and that's when I came to the decision that it's basically a meeting for legal people.
Okay.
Thank you. If we move to page 19 of that report, and you go to paragraph 3.2.2, right at the bottom of that page, these are the recommendations of the committee, of the task team, and it records some of the issues that have been recommended.
I just want clarity.
Please.
Is this the recommendation of Advocate Rootman? He was the chairperson of the task team. Because I think he says that he is unfamiliar with some of the details in this report.
This is the report of the task team. I'm not sure if I will be qualified to say that it's and single out one member of the team, because this will represent the discussions of the team, of the task team.
But I read the submission online of Advocate Rootman, and he can't recall this paragraph, he can't recall that paragraph, and he can recall some aspects of it, if I recall correctly. So I'm saying is this the authentic report of the task team? That's what I'm trying to establish.
Why wouldn't it be?
Sorry?
Why wouldn't it be?
Because in Advocate Rootman's submission to the commission, he highlights aspects of saying, I cannot recall this matter being discussed. I cannot recall that matter being discussed. And if he does say it, it puts me in a difficult situation because he is the chairperson of that. So,
But
he
wait
could-
for the question, Mr.
Sorry,
Lala.
sorry?
Wait for the question to be put to you before you can bring
My
in
apologies.
Mr. Ratman.
Yeah,
Thank you, Chair.
He is not the one who's being cross-examined.
okay.
Thank you, Chair. For the record, the report states on paragraph 3.2.2 of that page 19 that I've indicated earlier, it says the function of the proposed task team should be, this is one of the recommendations that has been made, before the institution of any criminal proceedings for an offense committed during the conflicts of the past, to consider the advisability of the institution of such criminal proceedings and make recommendations to the National Director of Public Prosecutions in this regard.
I have no
My
memory.
question
Wait.
is, was this recommendation referring to the formation or what was supposed to be referred to the ITT, according to your recollection?
Commissioner, and I don't want to interrupt unfairly, but it's not a recommendation in terms of the document she's reading from. It's a matter under discussion.
Yes, Ms. Rangata?
Thank you, Chair. I can accept if we can identify the document like that. These are the discussions, and the discussions make certain recommendations within the task team. If you're comfortable to say these are the discussions, we can then accept that 3.2.2 make that submission or make that discussion for a further handling of any of these matters as captured in 3.2.2. What will be your response to that?
I think I must add a proviso. All I'm saying is that who introduced this document, where does the document come from, and what authenticity does it have? Because my challenge that I'm having over here is that when I read Advocate Rudman's explanation, he can't recall those things. So in my situation, I'm going to say I can't recall this matter being discussed.
Thank you. Is then your answer that you cannot recognize what is contained here and you cannot respond to it?
That's in short. Sorry
Thank you.
about that.
I can accept that. If I take the matter further, I would say that accepting that you're a member of the task team, of the Amnesty task team, your participation, your mandate, you've said so already when Advocate Vani was cross-examining, that you've recorded how you were introduced to the task team, how you were recruited to the task team, and what would have been your mandate and your role in that task team, in the ATT. If we have to look at that background and address the commissioners as to what contributions have you made according to your own knowledge in your participation, because we can accept that at least you attended one meeting. What would have been your participation and your recollection of your contribution to the ATT?
Yes, I'm going to repeat myself again over here, is that I went in there after Commissioner Williams asked me to attend the meeting, and in the process I realized that the meeting was discussions of legal matters which were slightly beyond my level of expertise. I therefore reported the issue back to the commissioner. If I have made any recommendation or I cannot recall it, I may have, but I don't recall ever seeing a document of this nature being sent to us as members of the ATT.
According to you, would you say that the ATT made any contribution? Was there anything that was positive that might have...
I have not seen what the ATT recommended to the Department of Justice.
Were you not interested to find out? I mean, you are a member of this task team.
As I explained, I found it beyond my expertise, and I informed my principals that I was not in a position to actually engage on the subject matter.
Thank you, sir. Chair, that will be all from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just inquire from you, Mr. Lala? Now, as head of intelligence, were you ever tasked or asked to assess whether the prosecution of the perpetrators of gross human violations would cause any civil strife or internecine strife? This is on both sides of the divide. We know what the divide is. Were you ever asked to give a view whether that could ignite civil strife or could cause some disruptions?
I think at various intervals and quite frequently, depending on whether it's a localized conflict, depending on whether it might have regional dimensions or national dimensions, yes. We have been asked to make continuous assessment of the current situations of things that were happening. So that was the nature of intelligence, is that if tomorrow, or if, like say for example in KwaZulu-Natal, when the violence took place, we had to make assessments, evaluations, make proposals. When the violence took place in Bopatong, the same kind of thing. When protest marches, and yes, we have been asked to make assessments, and we send our assessments to the National Intelligence Coordinating Center for assessment of a whole country appraisal.
Yes, and asked or tasked by whom? The task team, the president, the commissioner?
No, I was always tasked by the Deputy National Commissioner as Intelligence at that time, and sometimes Commissioner Salebe.
And is there any written evidence of that? What you advised?
I think on a quarterly basis, we had to do, there will be documentation and processes in place in the system. We had to do this kind of assessment to give the state of the nation, basically, to talk about all risks, all things that were happening at that specific time. So it was structured. And when things took place spontaneously, we had to respond to it.
And overall, your assessment was their prosecution would not ignite any civil or intelligence strife, or what was your overall assessment?
Which prosecution, sorry?
Prosecution of perpetrators of the human rights violations.
I think in the sense of intelligence...
As I said, on both divides.
Yeah, and we have done it on both divides.
Yes.
Depending on the issue at hand at that moment.
Yes, that's why I'm asking.
Yes.
Your overall assessment, what was it?
Well, at times we had to put initiatives into place, maybe interventions through local government, through the unions, discussions, or we had to recommend, not that we got involved in it. We made recommendations that whoever the executive authorities that are responsible for this, in order to avert and curb the nature of the conflict, they should take 1, 2, 3 things into account. But in terms of prosecution of people who perpetrated human rights violations,
that is the question.
We
the prosecution.
I agree that they should be.
And we're speaking, or maybe let me just say this: the prosecution now of those who did not get amnesty, or those who did not apply for amnesty. You know that.
Yeah.
Those are the categories that we're speaking about.
During my period of law enforcement, I felt everybody should be prosecuted who were not granted amnesty, because that was the law, and that's how we had to abide by the law.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. General Lala, or is it Mr. Lala? We again thank you for having come to give evidence on your cross-examination. You are now excused as a witness.
Commissioner, excuse me, before you do so,
Oh, you are there to re-examine.
I have a right of re-examination.
Yes,
I will
yes.
be, I will
Sorry,
be very brief.
You are sitting far from me,
As it pleases you.
so I've lost sight of you.
I'm sorry to hear that,
Yes.
but I'll be very brief.
Yes.
Mr. Lala, my learned friend, in starting his cross-examination very fairly, placed it on record that you're not a person of interest, and that he put it on record also that you did not interfere in the investigation of TRC matters. Can you recall that?
Yes, thank you.
Can you then just finally confirm under oath that during your service term in the South African Police Service, you did not interfere with, delay, obstruct, or terminate any investigation in any TRC matter?
I confirm that.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you. Well, General Lala, I've already excused you as a witness before you were re-examined. My apologies. You are excused as a witness. Mr. Soni?
Chairperson, we were supposed to have Dr. Ramaite for cross-examination tomorrow, but certain applications to cross-examine him have been brought at a late stage. And in fairness to him, we thought we should postpone his cross-examination to Monday rather than tomorrow. So there will be no sitting, or we do not have a witness, and therefore accordingly we
Yes.
ask that there be no sitting tomorrow.
Yes.
And the proceedings be adjourned for Monday, 10.
Yes.
Monday, the 25th? The
The
25th?
25th,
Yes.
yes, yes.
These proceedings are then adjourned until the 25th of May 2026 at 10 hours.
As you please, Chairperson.
Thank you.